Hello, happy almost the end of the March. I can't believe we're already almost through the first quarter of 2022, but I decided that instead of doing a blog post, I was going to do a video talking about some new releases over the next quarter that I'm excited for. So I've got my planner with all of my notes in it. So we're just going to go through pretty quickly. I'm going to go slightly fast, but I also will have graphics up here so you can at least see the covers and the dates. If you want, I can, or not if you want, I will list also the list of books that I have down below with name and author. I probably won't add links because this is going to be a lot, but I'll at least list out and then you can go from there. But if you want links, just drop a comment below and I can come back and add links to my description later. But so we're just going to get started because there's quite a bit of books. So this will be for quarter two. So April, May, and June. And let me tell you, there are a lot of books that I'm looking forward to coming out to this next quarter. Obviously, a lot of indie authors wait until closer to their release date, but I do have quite a few on here that have announced dates, and these are all subject to change. I'm not holding anybody to anything, but the more traditionally published books, I'm assuming they're a little bit more firm, but who knows with paper shortages and everything else going on in the world, what'll actually happen. But I think that's all I have for you right now. So let's just get into it because, like I said, it's a pretty big list. So here we go. April 5th. This is Nightingale. It's an anthology for Ukraine. It's a charity anthology. It said it had over 50 stories, and there are a lot of authors that are going to take part in this. I saw it from newsletters from authors that I follow. I saw Penny Reed, Sarah Nay. I glanced at the list before I recorded, so I didn't have to write anything down. Katie Roberts in there. I want to say, oh my gosh, I just got another notification from somebody recently, but there are a lot of authors. So I want to say when I pre-ordered it, it was like $4-ish, and I paid a little bit less because I had, like a gift card, an ebook gift card. So I only paid like $2 and change, but I think it's like $5 or $7 as an ebook pre-order. And it's all for charity for Ukraine. I can't remember which services that it's being donated to, but it's in the description for sure. And then April 7th, we have Famous by Kylie Scott. Or Famous in a Small Town by Kylie Scott. This is a contemporary romance, and it is a rock star who like goes home or finds a home in like a small town kind of a thing. So it's a celebrity romance, but it's not like while they're on tour kind of a thing. And I read her, I want to say Stage Dive, her like big rock series a couple years ago, and I enjoyed it, but I thought this was a good like mix of celebrity and small town, so I'm really intrigued by it. And then we have Parks and Provocation by Juliette Cross. This is a smarty pants romance, so this is part of the Penny Reed universe, and this is the second book in the Green Valley Heroes series. The first book was written by, I want to say, Kilby Blade, so this is one of the series where it's a different authors. Some of the smarty pants romance universe or expanded universe books, some of the series are all by one author, and some of them are a mix of authors. So this the Green Valley Heroes are ones that are going to be a mix of authors. If you don't know much about it, Green Valley Heroes is going to be set in Green Valley, which is the town that Penny Reed's Winston Brothers series is based in. So there is that. There's our first full week of April. And we will look at the next graphic here. Okay, so April 12th. So this first one here is a newer addition to April 12th. I think this was originally supposed to come out in the end of March or in the middle of March, and Penny pushed the date right before I filmed this, actually. So this is 10 Trends to Seduce Your Best Friend. This is a standalone romance, and they're both like science workers or in the sciences. If I remember correctly, the heroine is like a science teacher, and then the hero is a science person turned, I want to say like author or something like that. And they do some sort of social media thing. So they're not actually friends, but I feel like they're posing as friends. And then they're like trying to start a relationship, or they're proving this like situation wrong, that friends to like proving a friends to lover thing wrong or something like that. I don't know. It's Penny Reid, and it was definitely interesting, and I'll give most anything that she writes a chance. So I was super excited. And I remember thinking, ooh, they're both scientists, so that's always fun too. And then the other book, this is a more recent addition from to me that I found, and this is called Funny You Should Ask. This is by Elissa Sussman. And this almost seems kind of like a second chance romance. This is a contemporary as well. And the hero is like the new author playing like a James Bond type person. And then the heroine is a writer. I can't remember if she writes screenplays or books, or she's a writer of some type, or maybe she's a journalist. Maybe it's a journalist. But I think she writes something for him, or she's near him and meets on a plane. See, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to look it up because I want to tell you the right things. So hold on one second. Okay, yeah, so she is a journalist, and she writes like a piece on him when he becomes the new like James Bond actor, and then they end up doing like a whirlwind weekend together or something. It doesn't say how that happens. And then they come back together, or they find a way to, they like meet back up like 10 years later, and she's been through a divorce, and I feel like his people are looking for another really good piece or introspective written about him. And so they approach her because she did such a good one like 10 years previously when he first became this big hotshot actor. So it's like a second chance romancy kind of a thing. And it might even have a slight fake dating based on kind of the vibes I got about the beginning of it. But I think most of this is going to take place after the 10-year time jump, but I'm not 100% sure. But I was intrigued by it. It sounded a little bit different and unique than other contemporaries I've looked at, and I've never heard of this author before, so I'm definitely interested. And then the last book on April 12th is Letters by the Sea by Grace Burrows. This is the fourth book in her Sirens Spinster Quartet. I have not started this series yet. I do have the first one on my Kindle, but it is a series of 4 books, and they're all spinsters like in this like sea town or a coastal town kind of by themselves. And this one I'm the most excited to read because it's an epistolary romance. So I had to add it. And I tend to read things in order, but I might pick this one up first before getting to the first book. But I at least I have the first book on my Kindle. Okay, moving on. So April 19th, we have Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare. As of now, this is a standalone. It doesn't say that it's a part of a series. I have read a lot of Jessica Clare's books. She also writes as Jessica Sims and Jill Miles, and she tends to kind of keep things separate. Like her Jill Miles and her I think Jessica Sims. Jill Sims, something like that. She has the 3 pen names, and she kind of separates the genres, and her Jessica Clare books are usually her contemporary ones, but this is definitely more paranormal, but it sounded super cute, and I added it. And I don't really remember much because I added this to me TBR a long time ago. But I do remember it sounds like a cute, witchy, rom-com-y type of a feel. So I'm definitely intrigued in that. And then the other book on April 19th I'm interested in is Tents and Tights by Molly O'Hare. She is a newer author to me that I discovered, and I immediately signed up for her newsletter, and I'm really excited for this. She mostly writes plus size heroines, and I really enjoyed the humor in a couple books. What is wrong with you? I swear. Come here. But she writes like really sweet and funny books, at least the couple that I've read, and I'm really intrigued by them. And this is like a best friends, I think it's best friends to lovers, and the heroine owns like a little clothing boutique, and the hero is, if he's not her best friend, he's a good friend, and he runs like a outdoor sporting, like, and that's hence the tents thing. He runs that kind of a store. So they get together and they talk about like business stuff because they both have small businesses in the same like little strip mall area, and they somehow become lovers. So I'm excited for that, and to read something newer from her too before I go back and dig into her backlist. And then on April 20th, we have In Like Flynn by Lauren Smith. This is the second book in her Pirates of King's Landings series. I haven't read the first book. I do have it on my Kindle, but it's a pirate historical with this absolutely gorgeous cover, so I had to add it to my TBR for sure. Can I help you? Now she's screaming at me right here. I'm sure you can hear her. Okay. All right, and to finish out April here. Okay, so on April 21st, we have Always Mine. This is by Laura Pavlov, and this is the first book in her Honey Mountain series. I've never heard of Laura Pavlov before. This is a new author to me. I saw a couple of the people that I've started following the past year and a half who do a lot of contemporary recommendations and have recommended some books to me that I've absolutely loved, are really excited for this. So I'm kind of following suit and adding it to my TBR. Why are you stepping on things? And then on April 22nd, we have The Heir Apparent's Rejected Mate. This is the second book in Kate Sewell's 5 Pacts series. I just recently read the first book, which is The Tyrant Alpha's Rejected Mate. Loved it, gave it 5 stars, was super excited to see not only there was going to be a second book, but when I looked it up on Goodreads, that it was coming out very soon. So I can't wait. And I feel like Smart Women Read Romance, the podcast, is going to do a podcast on the first book here. So if you aren't sure about reading it, you can listen to the podcast and see what they get. But they usually only do books that they absolutely love on the podcast. So just saying. And then the last Tuesday of the month, April 26th, we have quite a few books coming out. So the first one is Julia Kent's first book in her Love You Maine, and it's Love You Right. This sounds like a super cute small town romance, and then the town is Luview, but it's like Love You Maine, and so they're known for having a lot of kitschy Valentine's Day and heart-related stuff. So I enjoyed her. Oh my gosh, I just forgot what it was called. The series that has Fluffy, Perky, Hasty, and there's another book. But it was a 4-book series, and I really liked it. I haven't picked up any of her other series because it's a series that, at least the one I see her talk a lot about the most, is a series where it's like the same person all the way throughout, and I haven't really been interested enough to pick it up yet, but I'm excited for this series because it sounds small town romance, and I'm in that zone right now. And then we have The Other Half of the Grave by Jeaniene Frost. And this is in the Night Huntress series. I think this is going to be technically listed as book 1.5. But what this is a rewritten, I guess, version of the first book in that series. However, it's all from Bones' perspective and not Cate's. So I'm very, very excited. She has released like chapters or scenes before on her blog and her newsletter. And then I think she originally was just planning it on releasing it that way and not doing a full book, but I don't know what happened, but I'm happy to have a full book. I will buy and read anything Cate and Bones and anything Jeaniene Frost, so I'm very excited for that. And then probably the book I'm most excited for April to come out is Kerrelyn Sparks' When a Princess Proposes. I cannot wait. So this is Embraced by Magic number 3. However, this is Embraced number 6. So what happened is, this is my favorite fantasy romance series, and the first 3 books were written but under one publisher, and it was called the Embrace series. And then she switched publishers in the middle, and books 4 and 5 were published under a new publisher. But instead of keeping it as the Embrace series, it turned into the Embraced by Magic. So technically it's Embraced by Magic book 3, but it is a continuation of the Embrace series. I have been so excited when I found out this book was coming out. This is, like I said, my favorite fantasy romance book series. And I didn't look too much into it because I didn't want to like spoil or overhype myself any more than I already am. But I have not read book 5 because when book 5 came out, I thought it was going to be the last book in the series, and I wasn't ready for it to end yet. And then this book, I believe, is supposed to be, our heroine is one of the daughters of the couple in the first book. So it's kind of like a second generation thing. So I need, and every time this series, a new book in this series comes out, I reread them all. And even when book 5 came out, I reread the first 4, and then I just could not pick up the 5th book. So I definitely need to read the first 4 and then finally read book 5. And now I can pick up book 6, and I'll feel better about picking it up because there'll be more of a chance if she's doing second generation that the series will be continuing. But I cannot wait. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I loved the first 3 books. They had really pretty covers. And they were the more like stereotypical. They almost looked historical-ish with the naked men or half-naked men on the front. But I really like the art style that she went with these newer books. And I almost want the first 3 to be republished with these newer covers so I can have the whole series match. But we're already through April, so let's get going. Now, I have a note for May. I have it here on my monthly thing. Juliette Cross, as far as I know, is still planning on releasing the first book in her contemporary romance series that's just her. It's not through Smarty Pants Romance. And the first book is Bright Like Wildfire. And as far as I know, the plan was still for it to come out sometime in May. I haven't seen a release date for that yet. I am a Patreon member of hers, so I have gotten the like sneak peek cover reveal, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait for it. And it's supposed to be kind of small town set in a similar kind of small town like where she lives herself, so I'm very excited for that. But I don't have, because the cover hasn't been publicly shared, and it's not even really on Goodreads or anything yet, so I didn't want to post it here for everybody to see. But if you want it, join her Patreon. So, for May dates that we are for sure on. Oh my gosh, I need another drink. Give me a second. Okay, so on May 3rd, we have A Bargain with the Fae King by Megan Van Dyke. I found this via a Ferrofeb newsletter, and it kind of intrigued me by the tiny little blurb that I saw there. So I just added it to my TBR. I haven't really looked outside of much else to it, but I'm always happy to find a new fae fantasy romance and a new author. And then we have, oh, this one changed. Okay. It's back in, because the date on this one changed. Okay, so it was formally supposed to come out April 2nd, but now it's May 3rd, and this is the Mrs. Degree by Sarah Ney. This is the second book in her Accidentally in Love series. I did buy the first one in ebook form, and it's on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very interested in this series because it is still sports romance, but it seems like they're not in college anymore. And Sarah Ney, if you haven't heard of her, is famous for her like Jock Hard series and How to Date a Douchebag series, which are all college sports romance, or most of them are college sports romance. So I'm excited for these because it seems like they're out of college, at least from the blurb that I read for the first book. But so this is the second book. And then the final book, and this is an ebook only, and this is Under One Roof by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of her STEM novellas, and they were actually, I want to say at this point, all three of them have been released, but they were being released in audiobooks first, and then a couple months later, the ebooks are coming out. So I want to say that I feel like this is the second one to come out, or no, this is the first one to come out, because I know that there's one in June, and then I want to say there's one in July. Let me take a peek. Yeah, so this is the book one in her STEM novellas, and they're all supposed to be really cute, really tropey, and so Under One Roof, I think, is a roommate one. And then we have on April 4th, or no, May the 4th, we're in May, and this is the Comic Con by D. Legacy. This is supposed to be a rom-com contemporary, and it has, oh gosh, I can't remember much about the blurb, but the heroine is supposed to be an Asian comic book artist. And I feel like somehow, I want to say it's fake dating, but I don't remember 100%, so don't keep me to that. And then on May 5th, and I thought it was super cute because a comic one coming out on May the 4th. But anyway, all right, so May 5th, Kiss of Darkness by Taylor Aston White. This is the first book in the Curse of the Guardian series, and I want to say this is another one I got from a Ferrofeb newsletter or from a fantasy romance thing that they did on Instagram that was like fantasy romance that's coming soon. So I, once again, added it to my TBR. I kind of skimmed the blurb and was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll add it. And then the last one on this slide is Julia Quinn's Miss Butterworth and the Mad Baron. If you've read Julia Quinn's books, this is a book in her, I guess, universe that her characters will sometimes read. And this is going to be in graphic novel form. It's been pushed back quite a few times. The first time really happened because if you weren't aware, Julia Quinn lost her father and her sister, who is the artist for this book, in a horrible accident thanks to a drunk driver, or I guess not thanks to, but due to a drunk driver. And I think it's been pushed back a couple of times because I've gotten the emails about it since I've pre-ordered it, but I'm excited for it to come out and to like be able to read this entire crazy story, because you just get like pieces of it from people in her book series that are reading it, and it's absolutely bonkers. And so I can't wait to read it, and it's fun that it's in graphic novel form for sure. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, so May 17th, we have All Fired Up by Dylan Newton. I have, I don't know if it's her first book published, but I received How Sweet It Is by Dylan Newton around Christmas time last year. Somebody gave it to me as a gift, and It sounded super cute. It was like an event planner or like a person who does like only like wedding receptions or stuff, but she was like the queen of romance, and it's supposed to be a romance between her and a horror writer, and I haven't read it yet, but I have it on my bookshelf in the front because I need to read it. And I saw this, when I saw this was being posted out, I think the publisher put it on their Instagram that I saw in a like a upcoming releases thing. And I think it said that somebody in this book is related to that book, but it's not listed, at least on Goodreads yet, as being part of a series. So it might just be slightly intercollected, but I am definitely intrigued. I want to read the other book before this comes out, before I buy it. I'm not going to bite a book. I'm sorry. But I wanted to at least keep it on my radar so I didn't forget it was released, because that happens all the freaking time. And then when I was going through books coming out in May, I just had to add this book. It is Kiss My Giraffe by Erin Nicholas. This is the 7th book in her Boys of the Bayou Gone Wild series. All of them have like puns on animal names, and it sounds like it's a spinoff. I'd never heard of Erin Nicholas before. So when I saw this book, I was like, this is absolutely crazy. Like Kiss My Giraffe. And it's like a sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary or something like that. But she has a bunch of like Bayou small town series. So I definitely want to try this series out. And I added all of them to my TBR. But I had to put this on here because it's called Kiss My Giraffe. So if you've read Erin Nicholas, let me know, because I'm definitely intrigued by these books, especially this episode, because there's like an otter book and I don't know. They're all like crazy fun. Okay, that's it for the 17th. So then May 24th, the last Tuesday of the month, which is for traditional romances. A lot of books come out. And so we have one of my most anticipated books of the year, How to Steal a Scoundrel's Heart by Vivian Loret. This is book 4 in the Mating Habits of Scoundrels. This is Prue's book, and I can't wait. We get a little bit of a teaser in book 3 of The Wrong Marquess. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. As the second pre-orders went up, I pre-ordered it. Then we also have Dukes Do It Better by Bethany Bennett. This is book 3 in her Misfits of Mayfair series. I'm really excited for this. This is supposed to be, from what I understand, it is the younger daughter of Carl, the Earl that's in the second book, West End Earl. And I think it's supposed to be like the pirate dude that we saw at the end of the first book. Any rogue will do, but Bethany Bennett is a newer author. I read her first 2 books, published recently. Absolutely loved them. I gave them both 5 stars, and I'm really excited to continue on in this series and see what happens. And then we've got the 3rd book in Joanna Shoup's Fifth Avenue Rebels series, and this is The Bride Goes Rogue. Another gorgeous cover by Joanna Shoup, and I am excited. I still haven't read the 2nd book in this series, which I know a lot of people really loved, so I need to definitely get that one read before this one comes out in May. And then the other book is a newer find for me, is Secrets We Whisper in the Moonlight by Rachel Higginson. I recently binged her Opposites Attract series, which is set in Durham, one of the Carolinas, and it's all like chef foodie romances. And there is a spin-off series, and this is a part of it. It's Decisions in Durham, and it's supposed to be around the siblings that own, like the first book is Will, and we meet Will in the Opposites Attract series a couple different times, and they own like a craft bar tavern kind of a thing. So they don't do like full restaurant stuff, but they're like a craft bar. And so it's supposed to be about like the siblings that own that bar. And I got the first book, and it's on my Kindle because I binged Rachel Higginson recently. I binged the Opposites Attract series, and I love them all. And then when I saw her author's note in the back that there was going to be a spin-off series starting with Will, I was like, oh my gosh. So then when I looked it up and I saw that the 2nd book was coming out soon, I was like, perfect. I can't wait. So that is it for May. we are going to run through June as quickly as possible. Like I mentioned before at the beginning of this video, I've been reading a lot more indie romance people, so June isn't going to have as much on it just because it's still several months in the future, and a lot of indie authors wait until like a month or a couple of weeks until things are about to come out before they announce like official dates and all that. But I do have some on my TBR that I do know should be coming out around this time. So let's get into it. June 1st should be Brutal Vows by J.T. Geisinger. Yes, Geisinger. It is the 4th book in the Queens and Monsters series. This is mafia romance. That's all I need to know. More J.T. Geisinger in the Queens and Monsters. That's all I need to know. And then also on the 1st is going to be Trash and Treasure by Alessa Thorne. This is the 1st book in her Ironwood series. And this is a spin-off or associated with her Wrath of the Fae series. I love Alessa Thorne. I adore her writing. I have not read the Fae series yet, but I keep meaning to read them, and I just keep getting sucked into other things. I meant to read them during Pharaoh-Feb, but that didn't happen. But I have read her Gods of the Underworld and the Egyptian one, Gods of the Duat, I think, and I loved them. I started reading her when Gods of the Underworld came out, and I love her. I love her stuff. Really great. And then June 6th, the day before my birthday, Always Practice, Safe Hex by Juliette Cross comes out. This is book 4 in Stay a Spell, and this is Livy and Gareth. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Oh, happy birthday to me. And then on the 7th, which is actually my birthday, we get the second Hazelwood STEM novella. This is going to be the ebook form, and this is Stuck With You. And if I remember correctly, this is like they get stuck in an elevator kind of a situation. So that's always fun. Okay. And then June 14th is The Friendship Pact by Jill Shalvis. This is the 2nd book in her Sunrise Cove series, which is her newest series. The 1st book came out, I want to say, in January. And it's supposed to be, her previous series, she went more women's fiction. And this is supposed to be back in the more romance subgenre. I haven't read it yet. Once again, I don't have time. But I'm very excited. I pre-ordered this before the 1st book even came out, and then I actually ended up getting 2 book plates for the first 2 books of the series as well. Signed book plates. So I'm really excited for that. And then June 21st, we have Fake It Till You Bake It by Jamie Wesley. This is a really cute, this sounded really cute. So this is the hero is like, he either still plays football or he's a former football player who owns a bakery, and like he gets all of his like teammates to help invest in this bakery so they have, something after football. And this is supposed to be a like either pageant queen or like a reality TV star is our heroine, and she kind of needs an image makeover, and somehow they're like fake dating or they're doing something, and then I feel like it's a fake dating situation, but it sounded really cute. And with the reality aspect, like I've seen a lot of celebrity romances, and with how big like the real and fake reality shows are, I haven't seen like a reality, like I've seen like Bachelor, Bachelorette, and those kind of ones, but I haven't seen like, it sounded more like she was like a real housewife kind of reality star. So not like she went on a dating show reality show kind of thing. I'm losing my tongue here. But anyway, it sounded really super cute. And then Also on the 21st is Soul Taken by Patricia Briggs. This is the 13th book in the Mercy Thompson series. The last book I read in Mercy Thompson was book 11. So I am a couple books behind in both that and Alpha and Omega. But I love Patricia Briggs. I definitely like Alpha and Omega a little bit more, but I don't know if that's changed because I haven't read the most recent books. But I have to say, Bran is my favorite character. I love Bran. He's the werewolf alpha. Oh, Bran is amazing. I love Bran. Okay, and then the last week of June, we have A Matter of Temptation by Stacy Reid. This was listed, I saw on Goodreads, as A Matter of Temptation Book 1. So I don't know if that's just a placeholder for the name of the series, or that's also going to be the name of the series and this first book. But I love Stacy Reid. I will read anything she writes. The first books I actually read from her were her like fantasy paranormal romance books. And then when I realized she wrote historical, I was like, wait a second. So I love Stacy Reid. And then the final book I have for June is Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. This is the 4th book in her Twisted series. And this is of the friends of, because it's like in the first book, the heroine and then her 3 friends are all getting books. In the first book, I thought the heroine of this book, and I can't remember her name, I was expecting at that time for her to be with her brother, but her brother actually was in the 3rd book with her other friend, and it was like an enemies to lover romance. I think his name is Josh. So I don't know what's happening with this one. I have not read the last book, so I do need to catch up on this one as well, but I have time, but I am excited. I will be buying them. I like supporting indie authors, and Anna Huang is also an Asian author, so I like trying to support Asian authors as well, and just POC authors in general, but yeah, that's it. Let me know down below this abrupt ending. Let me know down below if any of these sound good, or you have any other books that you're really looking forward to. I know that there's a lot out there, and there's a lot on my new releases section on Goodreads, but I wrote down the ones that I was most intrigued by, or books that I have either read the first couple books in the series or I'm caught up in the series on, and I definitely will be wanting to pick them up. I do have more notes in here of books that I am interested in, but not quite as interested enough to put in the list that I just showed, because I didn't want to make it too long. But as you can see, I just can't stop myself. So thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and yeah, like I said, let me know if there's anything coming out in April, May, or June that you're super excited for, or if any of these sounded good that you hadn't heard of. I'd like to kind of hear what other people are excited for that's coming out. I'm not really a big ARC reader, so most of these I will be reading pretty close to release day if I'm caught up in the series, or I'll at least be purchasing around the release day. There are a couple like the Vivian Lorette. I will, if I'm not, like, as soon as I'm done reading whatever book I'm reading when it comes out, I will be picking it up right away, because I just, there's like a few authors where I'm just like, I gotta get to them like that. I gotta get caught up. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I know I just said that, but we're gonna say it again. And I will see you all very soon.